Hello, world.
I was waiting for you to do the hello world. I'm like, wow, it's been so long. Dave may have forgot the hello world. But you didn't forget the hello world. So we are live in San Diego right now in front of millions of people.
Why are you keep saying that? New York, L.A., San Diego?
Last week we were in Los Angeles. The week before that we were in New York.
Okay.
So it's only right you give San Diego the props and respect they deserve. It's a great city, great people, and it's another city we will be in eventually.
Yeah, I think Anchorman was in that.
Eventually, I'm going to start running out of cities in the United States, so I'll just go and do my research around the whole globe.
Melbourne, Australia.
I didn't actually know. That was a good one.
Thanks, man.
I'm stealing it.
Okay, cool. Well, exciting episode. We've been one. Hannah Goldy will be on this episode. We cannot wait. Island Fights 50. That's like the big event. We are ecstatic for it. We just cannot wait. And her fight just got announced.
Are you already laughing?
No. No laughter here.
No, yeah, it's a problem. You said it earlier. We spoke to Taylor when we did the promotional video.
Yep.
And this is the biggest event in Florida for combat sports. Everyone's going to be there. Everybody's going to be fighting. The who's who is on the fight card. But we also have a couple big important dates also before that. We have September 8th.
Yes.
Undisputed.
King of the Ring.
Okay. And then we also have, what else? Dave the Wave?
That's really it for dates.
Oh, well,
August...
that's before September 29th, but
yeah.
we also have October 20th, Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after you bought your Locked In shirt, went to all of our sponsors, Wicked Cutz Fit Meals, and Pep-Boys, you could take a picture with us.
Definitely. And then next week's episode is a all-football episode. So I'm just previewing that. Next Tuesday night we'll go live. I think we're going to have Richie in from Pep-Boys. Football galore extravaganza.
For those that are listening to this maybe a day after, or if they're really good friends with us and we give it to them before the release date, what is next Tuesday? That's August 28th?
Yes.
So all football, August 28th.
Yes. Football day.
There we go.
You know, the preseason be wrapping up. We're going to give all our predictions, MVP, playoff breakdown, playoffs, whoever you want to talk about, Steelers, Cowboys.
Steelers.
I knew I would get. There's JT money. I knew I would get you.
August 28th, we will be in Chicago, so make sure you tune in. And it'll be a great night of podcast football. Another beautiful day for a podcast.
Yep. Then after Hannah, we are going to talk about our top 5 heavyweights ever in the MMA/UFC. We'll talk about that. It's a little
there's
hazy.
a couple reasons why we have to say just /MMA.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
The minutia.
Good word.
Appreciate you, sir.
Okay. Well, we're going to get Hannah on, and let's get locked in. Cool.
Okay. Hannah Goldy joining us right now. The dedication is unreal. She's in her car right now. It's pouring, but she still found time to get locked in. We appreciate that.
Anytime.
Awesome. It's Florida. It's always raining, right?
Always raining. I do have a fan question for you, Hannah. So,
what?
A fan question. Just forget the podcast. Forget just anything. Just a fan question is: we watch the UFC nonstop. We watch Joanna. Like, you think of her striking. You watch Amanda. You think of her striking. Rose Namajunas. You would say the timing and precision. But if someone mentioned Hannah Goldy, what would people say?
Probably I'm aggressive as fuck.
I like it. That's what Taylor
yeah.
said, too.
She said it without the fuck, though. She goes, she's super aggressive. She has a motor. She never stops.
Yeah. And all of my training partners love to hate me.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. Let's talk about it. Island Fights 50. We are so pumped. We're so excited. We are going to be there, but so are you. The first match on that card. How's it feel? Pensacola, Florida. Probably the biggest night in MMA in the state of Florida in 2018. How's it feel to fight on that card?
You know, like coming up watching Alex on Island Fights was awesome, and Dean has always taken such good care of us. And Pensacola, like, as a whole, I love, you know, the whole area up there, but the fans too, and everybody that comes out has just been so supportive from the beginning. You know, it's not my home, but it feels good going there, and, you know, it's nice to go there because we've kind of, you know, made a lot of connections, and, like, it feels homey, so it's nice.
For sure, for sure. Now, I mentioned this to Dave, and I definitely want your opinion on it. So, in MMA and the UFC, like, the biggest couple fighting tandem I know was Ronda Rousey and Travis Brown. Obviously, Ronda Rousey's in the WWE now.
Champion, by the way, guys.
Yeah, champion. Okay. But is it fair to say you guys are the best fighting couple in mixed martial arts?
I mean, obviously, my opinion's kind of biased. But, you know, I don't really think that there's many people that have done the things that Alex and I have done together and separately. You know what I mean? I had a baby 13 and a half months ago, and this is going to be my third fight since then. I feel like Alex, you know, he fought 6 times in like 6 months right after I had Odin. We traveled the country together, you know, just the 3 of us, and, you know, did what we had to do. I think that our dedication is on another level, and, you know, if you don't know us, you definitely will. And if you do know us, then you know that, you know, it's just, Absolutely. It's a lifestyle, and we've given up a lot to, you know, do what we do. And I know that that's not going to be for nothing. So, you know, like the past 14 months, I've been training my ass off to get where I want to be, and I'm going to be there, and nobody's going to stop me.
Very cool, very cool. Hey, a couple things. Stockton, you said it yourself about Pensacola, how much you love fighting there. One, do you feel like it's a home field advantage for you, fighting in Florida again, fighting for island fights again? Your opponents, I think, out of like the Tennessee, South Carolina region. So one, do you feel like a home court advantage? And then their second part, your last fight was like in Massachusetts, I believe. Do you like to travel and to fight, or would you rather, I would love to fight in Florida and island fights all the time?
Man, I just like to fight. I don't really care what it is. You know, it's hard enough to get fights as a female, you know, at this stage, like at this pro level. You know, I mean, it's either like girls are just starting out and like they're super picky about fights, or they're like already signed to Invicta or the UFC. Like I've had, you know, I like had opportunities to fight in Invicta, and it just wasn't the right time for me. You know, the weight cut wasn't right, or it was just. It's not, I don't care where I fight. It just has to be right. Especially now with Odin, it's hard to, you know, have everything work out. So, I mean, island fights it just ended up being perfect. It was just enough time for my last fight. And obviously I love to fight for Dean, but, you know, going up to Mass was awesome too. I'm from up north, so that was kind of cool too, to go back there. I had a bunch of my friends from high school come and watch.
Oh, very cool.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really see it as like a home court advantage, because at the end of the day, like, I don't really listen to anybody outside of the ring or the cage. You know, it's just me and the other person. So there's no home there, you know, like my home is the ring or the cage, and wherever it is, I'm there, and that's it.
You mentioned the UFC, so it's kind of been made clear if you win this fight, you may have an opportunity to fight in the UFC. What does that mean to you? Obviously, that seems to be your dream and your goal is to make it to the UFC. Does that add extra pressure to this fight? Is it more positive influence, or is it just another fight?
I mean, for me, every single fight I take, I'm fighting Joanna or I'm fighting Rose. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that I think about it, and I think that's the way you have to think about it. You can't underestimate anybody. Anything can happen in a fight, and, you know, we all want the same things. To say that I'm training harder than her, so I'm going to win. Like, it's not true. Everybody fucking trains hard. Everybody does what they, you know, everybody steps into the cage and, like, they want to win. It's just, you know, who comes out on top that night. But, you know, I'm not going to say, like, if I win this fight, then I'm going to be in the UFC, because you never know.
Sure.
And, like, obviously, you know, fighting in the UFC is cool and stuff, but I'm a mom, and I want to be able to take care of my kid. And at the end of the day, if I had a huge opportunity to make a lot of money and it wasn't in the UFC, I wouldn't choose the UFC over that. You know, like,
for sure,
I want to be able to take care of my kid over being, you know, in the UFC. Like, obviously,
I love that
probably
answer.
For me right now, that would be the most money, just because for women, that's really where they're paying the most money. But like I said, if I had another opportunity and it was, you know, more beneficial for my family, then that would be the route that I took.
Wow, I love that answer. All right, Hannah, this is kind of like funny, personal thing that you probably don't know or don't remember. For one, we're big fans. We've seen all your fights. We can't wait to watch you live. Island Fights 50, September 29th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. There you go, Dean. There's your plug. All right.
That was well said.
Well said. Sir. Thank you. Number 2 is we have a kid kind of like the same age. My son's Dylan. He's around 15, 16 months. He's always at Pete White's gym training, hitting the speed bag. He's in it. And we see Odin all the time in all your videos and pictures. It's awesome. Daytona Beach, breakthrough MMA around last year. I would think both of our kids are around 2, 3, 4 months in that range. and we were in the area, and Dylan didn't have headphones. But we walk out, we actually kind of like bump into you guys. It's you and Alex and Odin, and you guys had headphones for him. And we're like, oh my gosh, do you see those amazing parents? They have headphones for their kid. And me and my wife are like, oh my gosh, we got to get those. So we are called the best parents in the world now. We've been to Lynyrd Skynyrd concerts with the headphones, UFC events. He sleeps like a baby. So I just want to say thank you for the headphones idea.
Yeah, we were actually. I can't take credit for that because Mitchell and Brandy got Caden headphones first, and I saw his, and then we got. So shout out to them. Yeah, but they had them first. I saw them on Caden.
Oh, but we got them for no show.
Oh yeah, but
it's a competition always.
I was a psychopath when I first had Odin. Like, I felt like everything was going to touch him. Like, I was, like, running around, like, wiping people down with hand sanitizer. Like, don't breathe around my kid. Don't touch my kid. Like,
yeah.
I was crazy. The first baby syndrome or whatever. Now I'm like, whatever.
I'm still.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Alex is still crazy about
okay. Just kind of back to your fight coming up. Are you the type, this just really interests me, are you the type to study your opponent? Or are you the type where, you trust your team? Obviously, you have a fabulous gym and a great team around you. To just worry about yourself and your training? Like, do you know too much about Shannon, your opponent? Or are you just really not worried about her?
I mean, I've watched a couple of her fights, obviously, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like you can watch somebody's fight, and then when you fight them, it's completely different and nothing happened. Like, I would never prepare myself for one scenario. Like, I'm good everywhere, and I'm comfortable wherever the fight goes, and, like, I just, I train as hard as I can, and I have my own game plan, and I'm also very good at kind of adapting once I'm in there, so if something happens, and I just never expect one thing, I'm expecting her to be good everywhere. I'm just going to be better.
Yep. Styles make matchups, like you just said. Every fight is different depending on who's matched up with who.
Max, you said I'm going to steal it right away. You talked about Hannah's gym and training partners. Oh my gosh, Mitchell Chimbali, everyone there in Fusion, Goughary, Philip, Alex, of course, everyone there, Joe Penafel. It's like we see all the pictures and videos. You train with absolute monsters, lions, warriors, everything. So iron sharpens iron. You are, I think, lucky and blessed to have all those people to train with on the daily.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's funny because all of my friends that I grew up with, like, they're like, I feel like your gym family is literally like a bunch of superheroes. And that's, like, they're all awesome, and we just have so many different styles, and everybody is super supportive of each other, and, it's a big family, and it's a great gym. Fusion is a great gym. We train all over, though. That was one thing that was really awesome for me. Like, when we moved to Orlando, it was never like I had to train here and that was it. Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't cross train. Like, and honestly, like, Fusion is like a meld of a bunch of different gyms. Like, people come to Fusion from a bunch of different gyms. It's kind of like a place that everybody can meet, and it's not weird. And like, we have people that are fighting each other on the mats at the same time. Like, there's not really a lot of places that do that, and it's cool, So it's a really great place to train, and yeah, I'm definitely super blessed to have all the training partners that I have. And it's sometimes people are like, oh, you don't train with any girls, and like, to a point, like, sometimes I do wish I had some girls to train with, and I get a little bit of cross training in with some females around here, but I love my training partners, and I wouldn't really change the way that it is.
The most important question of the night is, I think they're making a new 300 movie, and Alex, obviously, yeah, okay, you guys definitely have to audition for that. I saw Alex, and I saw a picture with his beard. There he goes. There's Leonidas in the background, so I definitely think you guys should audition for the next 300 movie.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Awesome. Hey, Hannah, we appreciate your time so much. Anything, shout out to your sponsors, plug your social media platforms. Dean Tool, thank you so much. Island Fights 50. I'm so sorry. Excited.
Can we solve some mysteries here? Who is the glitter bomb thing? Like, I've seen that on Facebook. Can you guys solve a mystery here? I see Dean Tool join the Facebook. Do you guys have any idea what that's about?
I don't know, but I'm going to get Dean's ass too.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
He's got to be ready.
Back to your sponsors, teammates, anybody you want to shout out and plug away. Where can people find you on Instagram or obviously Facebook? Just the floor is yours.
Yeah, at Hannah Goldie on Instagram, Facebook, Hannah Goldie. My sponsors right now, what is Pete's? Signature Custom Home Designs, Cryonex Integrative Healthcare. I don't even know the names of some of them because they change. Fit Meals, Daniel Martinez, La, who else?
The new CBD.
There's a new CBD oil company. I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna get it straight next time I talk to you guys.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
And all sponsors out there, guys, make sure you jump on this train quick. Hannah Goldie, a future star, stud in the making. We cannot wait. Sponsors, if you don't jump on her now, if you don't get with her now, she will be gone. She'll be charging triple by the time you want to be with her. So,
for sure.
Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Good
Drive
luck to your
safely.
fight.
Drive safely, and can't wait to watch you fight. Thank you so much.
Island Fights
Thank
50.
you guys for the support. Talk to you soon.
All right, later. Thanks. Stay locked in, guys. Thanks for joining.
Dave, what a tremendous interview with Hannah Goldie, with Alex the Spartan Nicholson driving safely and doing a Leonidas call in the background.
That's pure talent. He can do a flying knee kick and knock out people in the PFL. And then he can also drive safe and do
Leonidas.
Yeah, Leonidas. Telling you, Alex is a future movie star. Tom Cruise and Alex.
I like to make people laugh, but at the same time, I was somewhat serious. Like, I seriously think he could play a role in a 300 movie.
Yeah.
Like, if they were to do, like, another prequel, just another movie. He has a beard, he's built, and he says Sparta pretty intensely. So I think he should be in 300.
Max?
And fight.
Probably the third smartest thing you've ever said in your life.
I'll take it.
Okay. And then Hannah was amazing, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We can't thank her enough for being on. And Island Fights 50. September 29th. Let's sell out the Pensacola Bay Center. Dean Toole, we're pushing it. We're selling it out.
Yeah, and Dean, look, I tried my best to figure out the glitter bomb guy. I've seen it on Facebook, a couple posts now.
Yes.
I know Hannah's going after you, so at least you know somebody who's going after you. But as far as the guy, the unspoken anonymous person, I tried my best. I tried to have a great interview, talk about 300, the fights, Island Fights 50, September 29th, and then also solve some crimes.
All day long, I've been calling you Detective Max. And
maybe it was you, Dave.
All right. So there you go, guys. Hannah Goldie, thank you so much.
Is that glitter?
It's in my pocket. All right, let's keep rolling. Max, 2 days ago or today, you put up your top 5 UFC/MMA heavyweights of all time.
It was today. Thank you very much. It was debate of the day today.
It was awesome. And so many people are getting into it, so it became a topic on our show.
Yeah, and I talked to him like Dave, so we've always done like the best shooting guards of all time, small forwards. I mean, you could do quarterbacks, running backs, whatever you want to do, but what are like the best top 5 of each weight class? Obviously, the heavyweight weight class is like the weight class of the world. Like that's what I always think of, like Ali, heavyweight, Mike Tyson.
I agree.
Stipe DC.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's not just UFC because there's so many heavyweights that were like in the Pride days teaser that never fought in the UFC, but some even consider the GOAT or the best heavyweight of all time. So I think, just in all fairness, devil's advocate here, we have to include the people that did not fight in the UFC.
Okay. Can I just kind of throw out a spoiler right away?
Okay.
I'm a UFC guy. I have no people really that were better before the UFC than, after. Like, I got a guy who's a /prider. I just coined that term. But if you were not a dynamic heavyweight in the UFC, I don't have you in my top 5.
No, that's fair.
It's like
UFC
the
is
Will
the
Chamberlain
premier
argument. Like you can say he's the greatest of all time, but I never saw him play. I'm 34 years old. I just don't know. You know what I mean? He played in black and white with no 3-point line. It's like,
yeah, no.
So that's just my 2 cents.
For sure, you have to take everything into account. You have to take records, who they fought, when they fought them, steroids, no steroids, seriously, there's so many things to consider when looking and evaluating the best of all time in any weight class, let alone the heavyweight division. So let's get started.
Okay.
You want to start with your number 5, or are we going 1 to 5?
Whatever you want.
Let's save the best for last. We seem to do that when we
Okay.
do our list. So,
You want me to go 5 first?
sure.
Okay. I'm going to go 5, number first, and here's my guy, the slasher, I call him, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. That's my number 5 greatest heavyweight ever.
I usually just call him Nogueira.
Nogueira.
So hats off to you.
Thank you,
He's
sir.
doing his first name.
First, second, and last name.
There you go.
No, I love Nogueira, the greatest submission expert as a heavyweight ever, and I'm a Frank Mir guy. I love Frank Mir. He's an honorable mention for me, so that's a
Yeah.
little bit of a spoiler. I love Frank Mir, and they had a great fight as well, Nogueira. I just love Nogueira. Before he got to the UFC, he was one of the best ever, and then when in the UFC, he was one of the best ever. I think he won the interim championship. My favorite heavyweight fight ever, all 3 rounds, was Nogueira versus
Randy
Couture. I was like, that's just my favorite heavyweight fight ever. I love that fight. It's like, I feel like they're flyweights. It's like a Henry Cejudo versus Demetrius Johnson fight. They were amazing. Just the longevity and his highest highs are amazing. So I got Nogueira at number 5.
I could be wrong on this. Well, actually, I am wrong right off the bat because Shogun did it. But he's one of the few fighters to ever have a Pride Championship belt and a UFC belt. I think he was the first to ever do it because he was a Pride.
Rampage did it too, right?
I don't think he was ever a champion in Pride.
Pride.
Shogun was.
Yes.
But yeah, well, he won a tournament, so I think they gave him a belt for that. But yeah, Nogueira was the first to ever do it. But one of the most underrated parts about Nogueira also is his boxing. He had such crisp boxing and just an outstanding chin. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, he would get hit by Mark Coleman, he would get hit by Bob Sapp, and he would still stand up. So on top of his amazing ground game, he had a solid boxing game.
So you like my number 5?
I do, although I do disagree with you, and it's kind of actually going to be a surprise. People are going to say, why don't you have him ranked higher? But I won $1 off of him today, and we bet about Frank Mir and Fedor.
Yes.
And Fedor knocked out Frank Mir, and I have Fedor at my number 5. And people are going to say that's low, but I'm telling you I have reasons on why he's my number 5. The first off is...
Real quick, can I interrupt, please?
Yeah.
He didn't make my list. So if they think you're low, he
wow.
didn't even make my top 5. So people, don't go after Max, come after me.
So I was about to make the argument on why he's so as low as he is, but now I have to make the argument on why he should be on the list. I didn't have that in my notes, but Dave, come on. As far as what he's done for heavyweights in general, yes, he never fought in the UFC. That's like the biggest asterisk there could be.
That's it. That's all I
need.
Caveat,
yeah, like that is the biggest thing. I completely understand. But what he has done outside of the UFC was transcendent. Like, it was, nobody has ever done what he did. And the way he did it, he seemed unbeatable. Like, he was fighting the biggest guys on steroids, by the way, because the Pride would have in small print, like, not testing for steroids. So he'd fight these guys.
You don't think he was on steroids?
I'm sure he is, but I mean, Bob Sapp, no matter if you're on steroids or not, is intimidating. Yeah, I mean, he's on longest yard benching the bleachers. So, I mean,
Bob Sapp.
Yeah, seriously, he fought Bob Sapp. So I just have him for what he's done for the sport. I think he's probably the one fighter, if I could wish anyone to ever fight in the UFC, it's Fedor. So that's why he's on my number 5. But I definitely think you should put him on the list because at a time, he was the most unbeatable fighter in the world.
Okay, that's a good argument.
Before his
that's
weird
about
streak
points.
of getting knocked out, like before, like because Anderson Silva's getting knocked out now, but like he had that Anderson Silva aura.
So maybe it was C-level fighters he was fighting and was winning, and then when he came to America and he was fighting A-level talent, he was winning one, losing one, and getting knocked out a lot. I just don't think his competition was insane. Oh, Bill Russell won 11 championships. There was only 8 teams in the league back then. It's different.
But somebody you have on the list, he beat twice. Nogueira.
No, I understand. But Nogueira came to the UFC and had great wins in the UFC testing
That's
for
true.
steroids.
That's
so,
true.
No, if Fedor would have came over and had more wins than losses, because he's like a 50-50 guy, especially like in Strikeforce and now in Bellator, if he would have came over and dominated for a while and then kind of fell off like Anderson, I would maybe put him on that 5 or 4 list. But just, this is my opinion. He done all his all of his wins, all of his success was before steroids were out of the heavyweight game and in Pride.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why he's number 5 on my list and not number 1. Like some people,
yes,
I feel like if most people would say he's at least top 2. Like a lot of people have him as the greatest of all time. So we sound
people are going to get on us for it. I like it.
Yeah, we think very similar. But yeah, I completely agree. Number 4, Dave. You want me to go or you go?
Can I take this one?
Yes, sir.
One of my top 10 favorite fighters of all time, number 4, Captain America himself, Randy Couture.
That's my number 4.
Yes!
Let's go.
We just high-fived on a podcast. The only 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. He did lose to Brock Lesnar. Just want to throw that in there.
At 44. And Brock was on steroids, but keep going. Keep going.
Randy Couture, amazing. One of my favorite fighters to watch. Legendary legacy fights against Chuck Liddell, the trilogy, my favorite word in mixed martial arts. Love him. Randy Couture, Captain America.
You kind of just said everything. So the last point I'll make on Randy is before I knew of Conor McGregor's existence and his 13-second knockout of Aldo, which is still my favorite fight to this day, when we tackled each other on your living room floor.
True story.
But and rubbed it in my dad's face. But
true story.
He was so pissed. But it was Randy Couture when he came out of retirement after he was a light heavyweight champion, lost to Chuck, that weird trilogy, historic trilogy, not weird. But then he came out 40-something years old, beats nobody could beat this champ, and he beats him, Tim Sylvia. First punch he throws of the entire fight, knocks Tim Sylvia down, dominates him all 5 rounds.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's one of the best UFC moments ever.
Yeah.
One of mine.
So that's my number 4. Your number 4?
Yep.
Number 3.
Number 3 is now the heavyweight champion of the world for the UFC. One of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, DC, Daniel Cormier.
Mine as well.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You're copying my list. We
No,
never talked to each other about this.
DC's my 3rd, just because people forget he was in the heavyweight Grand Prix in Strikeforce and won it.
He has never lost a heavyweight fight. And he's defeated some top-tier names.
Stipe,
I'm going to get to him. Okay,
so he's above DC, even though DC knocked him out.
Correct. Just because of the longevity he had in the heavyweight game, the longest reigning champion there ever was. But DC, number 3, and he has the shot to move up to number 1. If he defends the belt 2 times, he becomes my number 1 greatest heavyweight.
Now,
ever.
that can get tricky, though, because he said he only has 1 fight left in him. And, yes, fighters have lied in the past. But
money talks, bullshit walks.
But you have to consider he's 40 years old. So it's like he's starting to get to that level. I mean, he looked great in the Stipe fight. Don't get me wrong. But he's a smart guy where he knows he wants to be there for his kid's life.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure he's not mentally damaged. And
Yep.
he's a great commentator. He has so many things and avenues outside of the sport of fighting, outside of the octagon. If he fights Brock, which is his money fight, I think that could be his last fight, unless, of course, John's Bones Jones.
Max, you're locked in again. But you just said Randy Couture came out of retirement at 44 to recapture the heavyweight gold. DC,
who else has done that? Come on, he's an anomaly.
DC could do it. All right, that's my number 3. My number 2, I hope it's not the same as you. We've been going back and forth.
We have the same number 1 and 2, but they're in different orders.
Wow. My number 2, DC's teammate, Cain Velasquez.
Make your pitch on why he's 2, and I'll make my pitch on why he's 1.
Wow. So let's just go. Number 2 is Cain. My number 1 is Stipe Miocic.
Yeah,
so,
mine is Stipe Miocic, and then Cain Velasquez, my number 1.
Cain, I think in a way his highest high, I've never seen a heavyweight better than him. At his peak, his motor, he was like Colby Covington as heavyweight with power. Like, his motor is unbelievable. He never got tired. He had a trilogy with JDS, right?
Yeah, he won that one.
Yep, won the second and third fight. He has only lost to JDS in the UFC, and that was just and JDS is a stud, rare knockout power.
Especially back in the day, yeah.
Yep. So other than that, if it wasn't for injuries, I would maybe put him at number 1. But injuries have stopped him, has really sluggished his career. He doesn't have the longevity as I think Stipe has, and he hasn't had the multiple UFC defending championships. How many times have he had to pull out of a fight? So that's why he's number 2. Why Stipe's number 1 is the defending the title 4 times, 3 or 4 times, 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
His longevity, the fighters he fought, Overeem, how many? Who else?
Oh, he's fought Junior Dos Santos.
JDS.
I think he lost to Junior Dos Santos.
No, Francis Ngannou.
He beat Francis Ngannou, beat Overeem. Yeah, he's Verdum. He's an honorable mention, by the way.
Verdum
for sure.
is an honorable
mention. And Frank
mention.
Mir.
Yes. So great honorable mentions. Even Mark Hunt. I love me some Mark Hunt. So I love Cain Velasquez. He's number 2. It's no slight to him. But I have Stipe, who stayed healthier and had a lot more longevity. The greatest heavyweight fighter ever.
Okay.
Ever.
The floor is mine?
Ever.
I knew you could do one more. All right. DC said Cain can beat him. and DC knocked out Stipe. Like you said, we've never seen any heavyweight fighter with the motor of Kane, the chin of Kane, the stamina of Kane, and the boxing. And usually you see that stamina from a lighter guy like a Demetrius Johnson, George St. Pierre maybe at welterweight, but you don't see it from a heavyweight. And Kane, in his prime Kane, was the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time. And like you said, he only has one loss in the UFC to Junior Dos Santos, who he revenged that loss to and beat him both times after that. Injuries, yeah, that definitely plays a part. But, I mean, George St. Pierre was out for what? Like 2 years before, I think 4 years before he made his return. He wasn't really active. Tyron Woodley, we haven't even seen fight in quite some time, but he's about to fight. It happens, especially in the sport of MMA with the training camp with Khabib, with DC, with Luke Rockhold. You're going to get injured. It definitely held him back where this wouldn't even be a debate if he was healthy. But my number one is still Cain Velasquez.
Hey, Cuzzo, you can't really argue. He's number 2, so I don't have him far off that number 1. I just wish he fights more, you know?
I think he's done in the UFC, though. I truly do.
He might be, because we just had last week, we had our guy Seth, and, so I think he's training maybe for the WWE. He was kind of on the DL, you know what I mean?
Exactly. If he's in the WWE, which would make complete sense, like I completely understand it, make money, don't have to really worry about getting elbowed in the face and getting bloodied. Completely get it. But I don't see him returning to the UFC. It's just too much of a, like you just said, somebody's already injury prone, doesn't need to go back into the octagon unless they're perfectly fine. But who am I to tell you not to do something? So if he's healthy, by all means, Kane, please return. I love watching Kane in his prime.
Unbelievable. Hey, Cuzzo, great list. I loved it. And the honorable mentions are awesome. Verdum, Frank Mir, Mark Hunt, Brock Lesnar.
By the way, I'm glad you didn't put him on there. I'm glad you didn't.
Respect it?
So yes, thank you. And Mark Hunt, a locked-in alum. I feel bad not putting him up there because he's fought all these legends. But if he gets a UFC gold, then you can consider putting him up there.
Agree, because he fought these, people with maybe on steroids, not on steroids.
So legitimate argument.
Always, yeah, one fight away, and then he fought a guy in steroids and then lost. If he didn't, and that guy was clean, and Mark Hunt beat him, he could have fought for the title numerous of times because he only fought one time for the title. It was actually, I think it was Stipe, wasn't it? Or Verdum.
I think it was Verdum.
Oh, here we go, guys. We got a phone call coming in. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Shannon, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We are live, Locked In Live podcast.
Yeah, this is Max and Dave here. Obviously, Max speaking. Thank you so much for calling in. We just had Hannah on talking about the fight, and it's obviously a pleasure to have you on to talk about your upcoming fight against Hannah Goldy. How are you doing so far? If people don't really know about you, you're not local, right? So tell us about yourself. Where are you fighting out of and your gym, all that good stuff.
I fought in Nashville. I train with Team Sean Hammond, so I train at Nashville MMA. I train at Guardian MMA. We have other affiliate schools around, but I pretty much stick to those two.
Cool.
Yeah, so I fought a lot in South Carolina and Tennessee, so, I mean, everybody around here would know me, but I haven't made it to Florida, so I guess they'll find out soon.
Very cool. And Shannon, you are lucky enough, Island Fights 50. This is the card of the year in the state of Florida for MMA. There will be tons of people there, tons of big high-end people in the building. Big fight. Everyone's saying this is the fight. You or Hannah, whoever wins, there's a big shot to the UFC. So we're excited. Do you know or realize how big this fight is and how pumped and amped are you for it?
And it sounds good. I'm excited. I'm taking it one fight at a time. I'm excited to be fighting for Island Fights. I know that's a huge promotion down there in Florida. I've heard a little bit about it, but I've been hearing more and more about them lately. So I'm really excited to be fighting on this card.
Awesome. I do have a question for you. So how do you feel you match up stylistically with Hannah? Like, where do you feel you have the advantage in the fight? And if it goes to the ground, stand up, where would you feel most comfortable in that ring with her?
I haven't seen that much about her, but I mean, I think I'm probably more technical everywhere. I think she's gonna have a little bit of a size advantage, but I'm coming up from atom weight for this fight. I'm a 105er, but I think that's pretty much all she has. I don't see any stylistic advantages that she has over me.
Gotcha. So is there any sponsors, plugs, like teammates you would love to give a shout-out? Like, the floor is all yours. We want you to make sure people get to know you before this fight comes up in Island Fights 50.
Just National MMA, Guardian MMA, all my teammates, all my coaches out there. I don't know. I don't have any sponsors. If anybody would like to sponsor me, go ahead and hit me up. But
yeah, it's a tough game for sure. It's a tough game. Where can people follow you then? Like social media, like Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram, Shannon Goughary. Facebook, Shannon Goughary. And follow me to Island Fights. It's gonna be a good fight. Like I'm like what I'm predicting for this one is definitely it's gonna be fight of the night. So I'm sure they have other good fights on there too, but I don't think anything's going to come close to matching up to the fight we have.
Oh, it's going to be a great fight. Hannah Goldy is an unbelievable fighter. It's going to be a really, really good fight. It's the first fight announced. It's going to, like I said, it's a stacked card, but you guys are the first fight announced, which is great. Okay, female landscape of MMA. It's definitely been on fire lately. UFC, Invicta. How do you feel about the...
Man, I'm excited. I think that, WMMA is coming up a lot. Like, when I first started training, there wasn't a whole lot of females in the gym. And, every year we kind of see more and more come in. Yeah, and more female fighters getting on the cards. It used to be a lot harder, I think, to find fights for females. Now it's a little harder for me personally to get fights. But I think it's easier for females in general. A lot more people want to see the female matchups.
Yeah, for sure. There's just such exciting fights, and this is such a huge opportunity for you. I mean, you could shock the world. Hannah's a beast, like Dave said. You're clearly a beast, or else this fight wouldn't have been made. Can't wait to watch you fight. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and wish you the best of luck come Island Fights 50, September 29th.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Wow. So I don't think I've ever been this excited for a fight just because of like the anticipation. It's already a stacked card, already a tremendous event. We have Pete White boxing and MMA in the building. Dean Toole, obviously. Everybody's coming to watch this stacked card. Hannah was phenomenal. So was Shannon. I am so excited to watch this fight, Dave.
Island Fights 50. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Pensacola Bay Center. It's beautiful. It's right next to the Grand Hotel. We cannot wait.
Yeah, if you guys want to buy a shirt, like you're with us, you're like, hey, I like that shirt you're wearing.
Yes.
You were dancing like I was singing. I'm sorry. I let you down there. I wasn't singing.
I thought he was
hey,
Fortnite
dancing. You there. Hey, you there. But,
I see you.
Okay, no. There you go. Okay, what's the shirt link?
Shop.spreadshirt.com/locked-in with 2 N's.
One more time.
Shop.spreadshirt.com/locked-in. Or just Google
You didn't
image
have to
that
do
thing.
it. I was just
Come
joking.
On, Google
you said
image
it once.
I'm in the locked-in tee as always.
Also, guys, you like what you heard? You want to hear more of us? We want your feedback. So if there's something you want us to talk about, MMA, basketball, NFL, maybe even politics.
Golf.
We're not too sure about that one.
I'm not going to do politics, I promise.
Yeah, we're not doing politics. But, guys, anything but politics, we'd love to hear your feedback. Download and subscribe to the Locked In Podcast with 2 N's. It's on Apple Podcast. If you have an Android, it's iHeartRadio, it's Spotify, it's Stitcher Radio. Literally just hit that subscribe button. 5 stars. The last but not least step to do is to buy us Dunkin' Donuts. That's it.
Gift cards, $5. That's all I ask.
That's it.
Write a review on Apple or Stitcher or any
yes,
of them.
sir.
It helps out a lot. It helps out more than most people think. So,
And if you want to go a little bit more in depth on what you want to hear, you can like the Facebook page to join the community.
Yep.
So it's Locked In Sports Podcast. Join the community. We do these debate of the days. JT, you've been on a
today,
tear.
me and the professor. We'll get into that on
Yeah,
another
you've been on a
episode,
tear in the
but-
community. But seriously, we have our producers arguing with you. We have Dave getting in on it. We have
It's
some
not an
people just
argument, it's a debate, sir.
debate.
How dare you?
JT is a master debater.
I've been called that before.
Okay, that kind of wraps up the episode. So, guys, we appreciate the love. We are the People's Podcast. But like always, Stay locked in.
Yeah, you now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come to ball, we hitting it, kicking it, or we dribbling, passing it, or we running, or it's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked. Today's the Max podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.